Round 5 of the FIM MX1 MX2 Motocross World Championship comes from Sevlievo, Bulgaria, and this year marks the 10th anniversary of the Motocross World Championship taking place at this Gorna Rizica venue. In MX1 there have been 5 different winners in the last 5 years, and in 9 GPs held here in MX1 only Stefan Everts has managed to win both races to win the overall Grand Prix. And in MX2 we'll see a new name on the overall win list, as previous winners in the class have either moved up, moved out or retired. Current championship leader Jeffrey Hurlings has never won here. He's the only Grand Prix winner in MX2 on the grid today.
Bulgaria, magic lives here.
It's round 5 of the 2013 FIM World Motocross Championship. Welcome to the GP of Bulgaria as the Sevlievo track celebrates its 10th anniversary hosting the Grand Prix. It's a real riders track here this weekend. It's got a bit of everything. Hills, jumps, off-cambers. There's a real technical element. And the view from up here in the skybox is awesome. Kimi Raita Yamaha's Petr Petrov will be looking forward to his home race as the only Bulgarian rider in the championship. First up though, if you didn't catch the GP last week, here's what happened in Arco di Trento.
And Arco di Trento in the first race. It was a drag race to the start, but eventually the cream came to the top. Tixier was leading with Boutron second, and this battle with Nichols and Hurlings for the third place, but it was Hurlings who went on to win race 1 from Tixier. Charlier was second. In MX1 race 1, Tony Cairoli was in no mood for playing around at the Italian Grand Prix, and he stormed to the lead in the first race. Behind him he left the likes of Gauthier Paulin and Clément de Salle and Kenda Dijker to battle over second, third and fourth. But Tony Cairoli then the overall winner in Moto number 1. MX2 race 2, Jeffrey Hurlings hit the gate, and that was him right at the back as everybody else stormed through turn 1, but it wasn't long before Hurlings started to side his way through the pack and eventually found his way onto the rear wheel of Dean Ferris on the Yamaha. Glenn Coldenhoff was having a good ride, eventually would finish in 6th position, but Hurlings was a double moto winner and an overall Grand Prix winner as well. Tixier was second overall, Boutron was third. In MX1 race 2, Tony Cairoli once again swept across everybody through turn 1 and stormed into the lead. There was carnage going into turn 2 that involved Tommy Searle, Clément de Salle and David Philipparts. Tommy Searle fought through the field, but Tony Cairoli was the eventual winner from Kenda Dijker second, Max Naga was third. Tony Cairoli winning here in Trentino.
Hi, I'm Tommy Searle, I ride MX1 for CLS Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki.
Hi, I'm Glenn Coldenhoff, riding MX2 for Standing Construct KDM.
It's about 75 metres down to turn 1. Pretty flat and a 180-degree right-hand turn. Riders will drift wide. That'll open the door for riders up the inside to maybe sneak an advantage. Then we head through turn 2, through Gravity Cavity. A small jump followed by a big one. Then it's on the gas to the first of the Monster Energy tabletops, right in front of the main grandstand. We land it, go through the next left turn, over a slight plateau, down through the dip, and then the big step up. Tommy Searle getting it wrong here, and you just hear him under the helmet just acknowledging that fact as well. Then it's a big step hill down the other side into the right-hander at the bottom. A bit of choice of lines through there as the weekend progresses as well. And then it's uphill, big jump into a very tight left-hander, a mogul to the inside. We'll get Rutti through there as well. Might cause 1 or 2 problems as the race goes on as well. Downhill, very, very steep, over a slight crest, dropping into the right-hander. 7 or 8 lines through there as always. Then it's uphill, over a crest, through some waves, over this jump, and then through the left-hander. 90 degrees, through the waves, about 9 of them, right at the top of the hill, highest part of the circuit, before dropping off cambered left 180 degrees through this turn. Second of the Monster Energy tabletops. Onto the plateau. Dropping right down through a little compression. Then you can use inside or outside. 5 waves going uphill into the next tight left-hander. Normally gets pretty difficult through there on the inside. Looks flat at the moment, don't be deceived. Over a little double, and then a third one there. Coach Paulin was tripling that on Saturday. Then over the tabletop. Takes the riders back uphill, working their way towards the finish onto this crest, and then a big step up into the left-hander. Then we have a double or a triple through the next left, depending which way you want to go. Left, downhill double, and it's a drag race down to the Monster Energy finish line jump. From there, it's a left turn, back past pit lane, and we rejoin at turn 1. In qualifying for MX2, Jeffrey Hurlings stormed to his second pole position of the season, with Tixier second, Nichols third, Charlier fourth, Boutron fifth. And through the first turn, it was Boutron and Jimmy DeCotis who stole the march on everybody else. But it wasn't long before Boutron and the 2 Red Bull KTMs of Tixier and Hurlings were there, challenging for second and third. But then they stormed past Boutron to take the lead. That was Tixier leading Jeffrey Hurlings. It wasn't long before Hurlings found a way through into the lead, passing his teammate. Boutron was looking good in third, but Jake Nichols and Christophe Charlier, they're running about 5th and 6th at that point in the race. In fact, it was Dean Ferris that went down there, not Charlier. So the Yamaha and the KTM getting tangled up. Meanwhile, at the front, Hurlings found a way eventually to pass his teammate, Jordi Tixier, and that was lap 7 in the race. Hurlings would then open up about a 20-second advantage over the rest of the field. 7:37, Valentin Tellier on the Rockstar Bud Racing Kawasaki found his way into third when he passed the Silver Action KTM of Jose Boutron there, number 17. But Jake Nichols was on the charge again, working his way through the field, challenging fellow Brit Mel Pocock as he stormed back up into 6th position, rectifying the mistake that he made earlier on in the race. Pocock dropped down to 11th by the time the checkered flag fell. But Hurlings was up front, Tixier second, Valentin Tellier was in third ahead of Boutron. Glenn Koldenoff on the standing construct KTM found himself in 4th, but Lupino collided with a back marker whilst holding down 8th position, and he was very lucky not to lose a position to Max Anstey. Anstey was on the charge after falling at turn 1 when he ran into the back of Dylan Ferrandis. But no doubt about it, the winner, Jeffrey Hurlings from his teammate Tixier, Tellier third. Gauthier Paulin took his first pole position on Saturday in the qualifying race, and it was Strybos, Searle, Nagel all recording their best finishes in 2nd, 3rd and 4th in the qualifying race. Tony Cairoli can only manage 5th. At the start though, it was Gauthier Paulin who stormed to the lead on the factory Kawasaki, followed by Tommy Searle, but by turn 3 he was passed by Kevin Strybos on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki Wild MX1 machine. Searle was then in 3rd position, but it wasn't long before Clement de Salle and Max Nagel started to close in, but it was de Salle who got there first and found a way up the inside of Tommy Searle at the end of the 2nd lap. And before you know it, it was Suzuki 2nd and 3rd with Strybos 22 and his teammate de Salle pushing him all the way to the finish, as it turned out. Despite attempts at passes and a few mistakes along the way as well, de Salle tried his best. Xavier Borg on the Ice One Racing KTM lost the front end at the top of the hill on the run down to the finish line area, and Xavier Borg would fall out of 13th place in his 100th Grand Prix. Tony Cairoli was on the charge too, found a way past Max Nagel to get himself into 5th place in the race. Then he had his eyes set on Tommy Searle. Tommy Searle was holding down 4th at the time, but he was 3 laps behind the Brit, number 100 on the CLS Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. And eventually, as he came over the line, stole up the inside, and Tommy Searle was pushed back to 5th. That's where he would stay by the time the checkered flag fell. Max Nagel was comfortable in 6th ahead of Van Hoorbeek, Philip Arts, De Dijker and Guarnieri. Nagel falling though and losing a position in the closing stages of the race. The battle ensued between 25 de Salle and 22 Strybos as Eric Gabors looked on at his 2 team leaders. Strybos wasn't to be denied a 2nd position though, and went back up the inside of his fellow Belgian and teammate. and went back into second position, but turning on the style for the crowd was 21 Gauthier Paulin. He won the first race from Strybos and Sal. Caroli was fourth.
Down at Monster Energy Yamaha, where Joel Roulance this weekend will run a brand new prototype start device, courtesy of Get Athena. Let's take a look how it works.
Well, inside the CDI unit, it's all the trickery. You hold on the red button, it activates the system, the blue light comes on, and then it's down to the rider to select the right rev range.
So all that Joel Roulance has to do now is get the timing absolutely perfect, and hopefully he'll get that all-important hole shot.
What can I say? I'm definitely impressed because it went better than we could dream of. We just started the season very well with both riders in both classes. Now we are leading the championship already in both classes, and if you see how Jeffrey and Tony are performing, that's just great. In the small class, Jordi was a little bit struggling, but also in Falkenswald he came back on a good level. And something which is really nice for us to see that a guy like Ken de Dijker, who was a little bit lost already in the paddock, is coming back and is also riding up there with top 3. Falkenswald was definitely one of the best KTM races we ever had, so we are really happy, to be honest. I would say, Favre and Koldenhoff were the surprising guys there in MX2, and but that's really good to see that also outside of the factory teams, in KTM satellite teams, riders can be in top 3 and just pick it up from there. So that was a really nice surprise for the championship. And MX1, sorry, talking again about the KTM rider, but for me Ken de Dijker, of course, was the big surprise, that he can stand the competition for 2 times 40 minutes and not getting tired. I would say also Gauthier Paulin is doing a really good job. He's fitting very well in the 450 class, so give him some more experience and how to make it over 40 minutes. We have some fresh blood coming there, and that's good for the championship. It's very early, and we want to stick definitely to all the riders we have right now in the factory team. So all these 4 guys gonna be with us for next season. Plus we engaged Tim Geiser with us as looking into the next generation, who could be the next guy coming into the MX2. Then I think we see great KTM riders in our satellite team, so we are not going out to steal these guys from our own teams and bring them in the factory team. So I'm pretty relaxed right now and just let everything go and look a bit more to the results. And last but not least, we must really look how the championship will look next year, because there is a big discussion. There could be big changes, there could be small changes, and that's also important to know before you decide finally on your riders. But we are really happy with the riders we have with KTM. We try to keep them.
The Honda World Motocross team tackles the Bulgarian Grand Prix a man down this weekend as Evgeny Bobryshev sits out with a fractured fibula. On the other side of the garage, Max Nagel is almost at full fitness again after a pre-season injury and then sickness, which affected his start to the season.
Starting into the season, everything worked out pretty good. Training, practicing, testing, really good. Both riders looking good. Then a small injury for Max going into it, so it put us on the back foot a little bit. And to be honest, we've been recovering that all the way through for these first 4 races, you know, and hopefully they'll be coming back, and Bobby will be back soon anyway with the broken leg. So injuries, illness is the start to our season. At the moment, obviously not riding here in Bulgaria, then it's a week's rest next week, and then it's into Portugal the week after. Hopefully he'll be okay for there, but you know, we've got to be careful with it, but he's having every bit of treatment we can get him, you know, with the top treatment around Europe.
I had not so good results in 2012, but now like I was in one with my bike, I would say. and yeah, I had like different preparation as well, so I was really 100% with the bike and myself. So it just yeah, just unlucky at the moment.
Off the track, Bobryshev has also been kept busy. He became a father for the first time on the eve of the first round in Qatar.
We was lucky, the baby came on 24 February, just 2 days before I left, and I was really like so happy to see my baby just from the first minutes. And now I'm really like, you know, I don't know, I have lots of motivation for sure. And when I'm back home, I'm so happy, you know, there's little, my baby is there, and I really like, I'm happy, I'm really enjoying my life now.
With Max, we believe he can be on the podium at the end of the year. You know, he can be in the top 3. That's without doubt. You know, we know he's fit, we know he can ride a bike, we know he can make a bike to suit him. So, you know, really, we would expect for Max and for Bobby really to be right up there.
The fitness level now, I'm, let's say, more or less 80–90% ready, because still missing a lot of riding with the bike. But in total, like I said, it's coming better every race now, and we have a long season. So that's something what will help me end of the season when you normally get tired. So I have a little bit energy left, but for the moment I'm a little bit behind, yeah.
Most importantly for Nagel, the transition into a new team and onto a new machine this season has been a seamless one, despite the fitness issues he's faced.
Feeling great. With the new team, new motivation, team working really good, really professional. The bike I like a lot, the handling so good, makes so much fun to ride. And with Honda it works everything pretty easy in the moment. So I'm really happy, so I have the confidence, and that also helps you to make good results.
For the German rider, the aim is clear this weekend, to build on the result he scored in Trentino, where third place in the second moto gave a timely boost.
For this weekend, for Max, on the podium again, you know, that's where we've got to target, and he's got to be targeting. He likes this place actually, so, you know, that'll help him. So yeah, podiums is where we're targeting with both riders from now on.
I like Bulgaria, it's a nice track. I mean, like you said, the most people like it because it's kind of natural tracks. It's not changed too much, like actually the last 5 years it's been like this, and there's some nice jumps here. The ground, the soil is really like nice, a lot of grip, and makes just a lot of fun to ride, especially with the hills here up and down. The whoop section is cool.
MX2, race 2, gate drop. Charlier went a little bit too early and he was left on the line. Mel Pocock got the whole shot but left the door wide open for Jeffrey Hurlings on the Red Bull KTM, and he stormed through to take an early lead ahead of his teammate Jordi Tixier, and once again Jose Boutron on the Silver Action KTM in third. Pocock was in 4th position for the first 3 laps on the Monster Energy Yamaha and was looking good as he challenged the likes of Alessandro Lupino on the CLS Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. Petr Petrov was also having a good ride, but so too was 128 Ivo Monticelli, who had come home in 13th in Moto number 2. Best ride of the year for him, because he scored also in Moto number 1. Charlier was on the charge though, back through the field and up to, well, 13th at the end of the first lap as he slid his way through the pack. Max Anstey, another rider, didn't make the best start in 8th, but it was better than Moto number 1, and he was up on the rear wheel past Mel Pocock in the early stages on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki Europe machine. And Mel Pocock then, that moved him up into, or Anstey moved him into 5th place as Pocock started to drop down the order. Tixier though was comfortable in 2nd. Boutron was having a hard time in 3rd, dealing with Alessandro Lupino 300 on the Kawasaki, and Max Anstey on the number 14 Suzuki. This was a battle for 3rd place, and it would last for a few laps as well before eventually both riders would find a way through, but not for the lack of trying. Valentin Tellier, 3rd in race 1, crashed out of race 2 from 6th position and would not score any points. But up the inside, number 300, Alessandro Lupino, found his way past Jose Boutron and into that 3rd place. And he was soon tailed by the number 14 of Max Anstey as well. And those two would have a real good battle as they left the number 17, Jose Boutron, to fend for himself. Boutron would eventually drop down to 7th place. Christophe Charlier, meanwhile, the number 23 Monster Energy Yamaha, was on a charge and would eventually finish in 5th place ahead of Dean Ferris. Charlier on the charge here, as you can see. Found himself on the rear wheel of Jose Boutron, but it wasn't long before the French Wonder Kid would find a way through. Again, at the end of the wave section at the top of the hill, parked it down the inside, did enough just to force Boutron wide, and eventually that would put him up inside the top 5. But Jeffrey Hurlings, once again, was on a mission. He'd never won here. He'd been 4th, 3rd and 2nd in the previous 3 attempts, but as he rode and dropped down the hill, it was Hurlings who took another checkered flag, so far undefeated in 2013 in motos and Grand Prix victories. And the Red Bull KTM marched on to another Grand Prix victory. Tixier was 2nd, Lupino 3rd, his first ever podium for the CLS Monster Energy Kawasaki rider. Boutron 4th from Anstey, Charlier, Koldenhoff and Dean Ferris. Of course, in the championship, Hurlings on 250 points, opening up a comfortable advantage now over Tixier. Koldenhoff's 3rd still, with Boutron, Charlier, Anstey, Ferris and Lupino in your top 8. Overall podium, His Excellency Karel van Kesteren, the ambassador of the Netherlands, handing the winner's trophy to Jeffrey Hurlings, and of course another red plate courtesy of Dr. Wolfgang Strub, the director of the FIM CMS. Hurlings, Tixier, Lupino, that was your podium in Bulgaria. Good crowd here at Sevlievo, Bulgaria for round 5 of the FIM MX1 Motocross World Championship Race 2. MX1, Gauthier Paulin up the inside, but it wasn't a good jump for him this time. In fact, it was Tony Cairoli on the Red Bull KTM that swept across but ran wide on the exit. So too did the Suzukis, and that opened the door for Gauthier Paulin as he swept aside and headed off into the lead. It was Paulin, the 2 Suzukis after Sal and Strybos, but Tommy Searle wasn't so lucky. He fell from 7th position on the 2nd lap when he ran right into the side of Gonçalves. Paulin left the door wide open. That allowed Cairoli to go through on lap 4. And Cairoli then was in a comfortable lead, always around 2 or 3 seconds clear of Gauthier Paulin, our winner from race 1. Max Nagel and David Philipparts were having their own little battle to see who would come out on top in the Battle of the Hondas. Eventually it would go to Max Nagel, but not for long though, because Nagel made a mistake and dropped down to 11th by the time the checkered flag fell, so it would in fact be David Philipparts. Bad day for Xavier Borg. The crash in Moto number 1 and a DNF in Moto number 2, not the best way to mark his 100th Grand Prix. But Tony Cairoli in the driving seat. 21, Gauthier Paulin was there or thereabouts, hanging on to the back, waiting for Cairoli to make a mistake. Of course, that never came. But Gauthier Paulin knew that if he was sat there, he would win the overall Grand Prix. Commander Sal on the Rockstar Suzuki, and 22, his teammate, Kevin Strybos, were having their own private battle in that final podium position, not just in the race, but also for the overall. Tony Cairoli had a lucky escape at the top of the first hill, but it wasn't enough to lose him too much time. Paulin was still there though, and the checkered flag fell. Tony Cairoli, a 7-time race winner this year, but Gauthier Paulin winning back-to-back Bulgarian Grand Prix. Tony Cairoli would have to settle for 2nd overall this weekend. Sal was 3rd in the race and 3rd in the Grand Prix. And that is your Grand Prix result from Bulgaria. Gauthier Paulin wins it from Tony Cairoli. Commander Sal 3rd, with Strybos 4th, a tie on points for the 2 Suzukis. Van Horbeke is best Grand Prix of the year in 5th, with Tommy Searle, Kenny Dyker, David Philipparts, Nagel and Guarnieri. Cairoli still leads the championship. Paulin moves to 2nd, to Sal stays 3rd, and Dyker drops 2 positions to 4th. So not a good day for the big Belgian, but great day for Gauthier Paulin, a 1st and a 2nd. Ruben Petkov handing him his winner's trophy this weekend, but Tony Cairoli picked up another red plate as we head to round 6 in Portugal.
That's all from us here in Sevlievo, Bulgaria. The MX1 podium is just finishing behind me. Gauthier Paulin standing very proud on that top step of the podium for the first time this year. And Jeffrey Hurlings maintains his outstanding performance in MX2 with another victory. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time in Agueda, Portugal. See you then.